Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Noteless podcast. I'm Ishan, and with me today is Cajflow. Cash, for those who don't know you yet, who are you? What kind of music do you make? And where are you based out of?
Hi. Well, firstly, thank you so much for having me on your show. It's an honor to be here. I really do appreciate that. Yeah, who am I? I am a music producer, songwriter, artist based out of Toronto. I work primarily in pop music, but also hip hop and R&B, and frankly, even some other genres sometimes. And yeah, I've been doing this for quite a few years now, loving it. And yeah, excited to chat about it.
That's awesome. So, like, how did you start with music? At what age did you pick your first instrument, or were you always a vocalist? And how did you first get into production from there on?
Yeah, great question. So actually, I was very young. I was 6 or 7 years old or so, and my parents wanted me to do some piano lessons because they knew that I loved music, and I
Yeah.
was trying to do these little remixes on my mom's computer, and they were like, this guy, he seems to like this, so let's make him do it properly. So they
Yeah.
forced me to do piano lessons. And I'll be honest, like at the beginning, I didn't want to do it, but I
Yeah.
actually ended up loving it. It was really really great, very beneficial. And from there, I actually started producing. So first, there's actually a distinction between what we call producing and beat making. So I was beat making first, meaning
Okay.
I would just have a software and I would just make beats and then that was it, right? And
So
then
like
over
beats like
time,
sorry, just
yeah,
like just the drums part, nothing else
well,
at
with
this point.
instruments as well, with melodies. But what I mean is, I didn't sit with artists. It was because I was in Switzerland at the time. I didn't know
Right.
any
Okay.
musicians or anything there. So I was
Yeah.
just making beats and posting them on YouTube. And this is when I
Okay.
was like 10, 12 years old or so. And then I
Oh,
moved to
that's cool.
Canada. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then I
Yeah.
moved to Canada, and that is
Hmm.
when I started meeting artists. And then I would, sit down with them in the basement at the time, and I would make the beat, and then we would make the music to get like a full song, that's what I
Hmm.
would call producing. So
Yeah.
that whole evolution took time, many years of trial and error. But
Yes.
that's sort of how it happened. And then I got into songwriting also in a similar way, where as I was working with artists, I would,
Hmm.
they would be writing and I'd be helping them with it. And then I ended up also fully songwriting. And then I started becoming an artist as well. So it was very
Yeah.
progressive over the years.
So did you align with like specific groups or specific songwriters during that time, which like kind of influenced you towards your own music?
No, I'm a very I like to say a very open-minded kind of person. I listen
Mhm.
to all types of music,
Yeah.
and really I'm always inspired by all sorts of things. I will say at the beginning I was much more of a hip hop focused producer.
Hmm.
So I was working a lot with like rap artists and doing a lot of hip hop. But then especially when I moved to Canada, I started doing other genres as well. So now I still do hip hop, but I also do these other genres as well. But yeah, I've been inspired by all sorts of people.
So take me like through your process because now you've done like so many songs over so many years. So like how do you usually get started with a song? What's the timeline like? And at what point do you say like, okay, we're done making edits, like let's put it out
Mhm.
there. Hmm.
Yeah, so I'd say really, and the way I consider myself is almost like a value add to other people's projects, right? So the
Right.
first thing I'd say is it depends on who the client is or if it's for my own work. So if let's say it's a client, everything will depend on what they want. Sometimes
Hmm.
someone needs a song right now, like they have money for one studio session of 2 hours and they need to have done an entire song out of it. So in that
Right.
case, we'll make
You
an
have to do
entire
it super
song, like we'll make
fast.
it
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Or sometimes, someone wants to buy a song from me, but they just trust me that I'll just build something for them and then they
Yeah.
can just use it later, and that can take a week.
Right.
Or then if it's my own work, like for myself, it could be as quick as a couple of hours or as long as 3, 4 years. Uh,
That's fair
so
enough.
so
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I
I've
mean.
got some songs where I made edits. I've made multiple versions. I have one I started in 2021 that I really like. I'm still working on it. Like I'm still trying different things.
Yeah.
But then I have others that I've done in a day. So it really depends. Yeah, but I'd say it's very client driven.
Right. So it's like, yeah, project to project, you have to like basically depending on like time and time incentives and like whatever, you have to just like
That's
come up
right.
with something. So like
Yeah.
that's like super, you must be like super talented to be able to spin up songs so fast.
Ah,
Did
thank
you
you. I don't know
pursue,
about that. I'll
yeah,
try
no,
my
you
best,
for sure are.
but thank you.
Yeah. So like did you pursue any like formal musical education for this, or like production courses?
Yeah, yes and no. So like I said, I started, producing very early, and at the time,
Yeah.
honestly, YouTube was the thing back in like, and we're talking like, I'm old, okay? We're talking like 2010, 2011 kind of times. So this is a long
Right.
time ago. There were
Right.
so many great videos on YouTube, so I was just watching YouTube stuff and then copying it, right? Then I did a summer program at Berklee College of Music in Boston. That was
Ooh,
great,
that's
but
cool.
that was for jazz piano. It actually wasn't for production, though there
Okay.
were a lot of producers there as well. So
Hmm.
learned from some very talented people there as well. But other than that, I didn't have any formal training. Most of it was really trial and error, and just you learn by doing, right? Like when you're in the
Yeah.
studio with someone, you kind of see their
So,
tips, or yeah,
sorry, like you've played the piano for so long, and then like again, like you speak about production again, like as if it's its own, like thing. So like, did
yeah.
like the piano part influence like any of your songs deeply, or like do you take those roots in?
No, I would
Okay.
say the piano more helped me in terms of when you are in the studio with an artist, I can
Hmm.
quickly come up with chords. Like I know how to read the language of music, right?
Yeah.
And depending on the genre, you don't necessarily need it. Let's say in hip hop, you don't have to know music theory, but I always say that I think it helps. And I always the analogy that I use is, let's say if you're trying to compose something intricate without knowing any theory, it's kind of like
Yeah.
if you're driving but with a blindfold on and no GPS. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like you can still kind of get to your destination, but it's a bit more difficult, I think, if you don't know, what a chord is or what's a major or a minor chord. Do you know what I mean? It's
I
more
have
difficult.
I have been around artists for all my life, like through band practice or whatnot, and I play the drums, but I still to this date cannot tell what a chord is from like
Oh,
one
yeah.
part. Like I know what's a B and a C and an A minor,
Yeah.
but like if you're just playing it and you're like guess this one, I have zero idea of what that is, and I
Yeah.
cannot still learn the guitar to help my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard, but it does help. Like for producing, I think it helps. And even let's say I have an artist I like to work with. He's an R&B guy, and he does a lot of intricate harmonies, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes we'll have a melody, and then we want to figure out what are the best notes to do the harmony with. But then it's
Mhm.
like if you already know the melodies and you know what the chord progression is, you can easily find out or suggest at least say, well, let's try the third or the fifth note. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that makes
So you're
sense.
able to like talk better, talk like get exchange ideas faster on it, and
Yeah,
like yeah,
exactly. But again,
right.
not to say that you can't make music if you don't know theory. I know plenty of artists who are super talented who have
Mm,
great ears and they know nothing about theory, but they
yeah,
hear it in their head and that works
yeah,
too. I just find it
yeah,
easier knowing theory.
yeah. It's like learning by ear versus like just learning for
That's right.
learning. Yeah. So you've done like music in so many different cities and like so many different areas. So like, how do you like maybe it's kind of a like niche question, but like how do you find like people to collaborate with, and like what do you look for in people or projects, or are you just like open to experimenting and like going your own way?
Yeah, so again, it depends on where you are in the stage of music. So when I
Right.
started, I was reaching out, I was DMing lots of people, and I was just saying, here's my music, let's try to do something or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Now it's more generally, I don't want to brag, but more people come to me and say, hey, I would like to work with you. And
Yeah.
that's how I have my sort of client portfolio, right? So
Hmm.
I'm not actively, going to places
Yeah.
and looking to people to work with, but it's more generally, if you have one really good relationship with an artist and you've done a song that a lot of people like, then other artists who've heard it will usually look for who was the producer, and then they'll reach out to you, right? So
Yeah.
generally, I'm not uh, reaching out as much as I should, but it's
Yeah.
always nice still networking. I mean, when I can, I like to go to events and meet
Mhm.
new artists, and even if we're not necessarily working together, I still like to know different artists and so on, and get inspired even, right?
Yeah.
So I try to do that, though I haven't been as much out there as I should have in the last year or so, but I'm
Yeah.
trying.
Yeah. No, like this is just like a basically it's also like an advice to everybody listening. Is like you have to be a villager to make a village. Like you have to
Yeah.
participate in the musical community. That's how you make
Yes.
connections and all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So yeah, like I am a complete noob to studio production anything basically. Like I've just figured out how to like set up Reaper and like my mic system in my laptop. So like
Okay.
what's your advice for someone who would want to get into music, or like sorry, who would want to get into mixing and like production
Ah,
softwares,
yep.
like of course there's a bunch of beginner tutorials, but I guess like what I'm more looking for is like how would you like structure your next few months if you just want to be like, okay, let me learn a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then like, okay, now I can cook up a song on my own.
Yeah, so I'd say first is talk to as many producers and engineers as you can to
Yeah.
understand what is it that you're trying to learn. Because you just put two different words here. You talked about production and mixing. These are actually completely different
See,
fields, actually, right?
yeah.
So I'm a
Okay.
producer. I'm a terrible mixer, and I hate mixing. Like I genuinely, I hate it. I
Mixing
can
is
mix,
taking a tune and like switching it around, and then
it's
producing is
making
like
it better.
making, creating
Yeah,
it.
so
Okay.
producing really is making the song. So a producer basically is the person who's in the studio who talks to the
Hmm.
artist. The artist says, "I want to do this type of song," and then the producer makes it happen. So I bring, a session musician. I bring an engineer. I bring a songwriter, or I'm the songwriter, right? And I sort of help arrange the song. That's a
Yeah.
producer. A mixer is someone who's in the studio and who spends 8 hours tuning the kick with the equalizer and the compressor and all that stuff. So I'm
Got
very bad at
it.
that and I hate it. But I
Okay.
can do it. I've been paid to
Yeah.
do mixing, but I'm a very lousy mixer and I don't like it. So I think if someone wants to get into that needs to talk to engineers, talk to producers, and sort of see what which part of it they're interested in. And some people do all of it, though I don't know many who do everything, but some do.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think learning by doing is still always the best. So shadowing someone, let's say telling somebody like, "Look, I'd love to be part of your next studio session," even if
Hmm.
it's just to like watch what you're doing or something, right?
Yeah.
Most people they're not opposed to that. Like, if you're a nice person, then they'll say, "Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, why not?" Right? And then just learning by doing, and then just trying a lot of it. And then YouTube, I still use YouTube for a lot of things all the time, learning stuff.
Yeah.
So it's still the same as 2010, actually. You know what I mean?
Still
Uh,
evolving.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would suggest that. And then, obviously there's always formal learning as well, though I think you can probably learn a lot without even going the formal route of doing a
Yeah.
certificate or something, right? But that's still also available, and you'll
Yeah,
learn.
music is like free for all. Like if you're good at like just music as an art form, like I think like it goes without saying you can do wonderful things. I think that's how Billie
Yeah,
Eilish does it. Like I think, yeah.
yes, she's great.
Um so yeah, like man, so are you currently in Toronto or
Yes,
still
yeah.
okay. So
I
tell
live
me
here.
about like
Yes.
how are you like what projects are you working on currently in Toronto, and what are you excited about in like the next few months?
Yeah. So I just wrapped up a project actually. That was, and I'm gonna kind of put it out there because it's an album by my friend Ashaveri called "Goddess
Okay.
from the Machine." So I produced 3 songs on that album. Featured on CBC and other things. It's a really, really good album. It's a debut album, and I think it's really good. So shout out to Ashaveri, and I hope your listeners listen to it because it's a very nice album. But other than that, so now this is gonna be juicy for your podcast. This is very controversial stuff. AI in music. A lot of
Okay, well,
people are terrified about that. I am too,
yeah.
actually. But as equally terrifying, it's also very exciting. So something that I've been doing the last few weeks, actually, I have taken a lot of my own songs, so songs that I've
Mhm.
produced, written, and so my actual tracks, and I've experimented with AI to reimagine them into different genres.
So
So I've done a version.
which AI platform do you use? Is it like generative
Yes,
or
it's called Suno. Yes.
okay, you use Suno.
But
Okay,
so to be clear, so I have not generated songs out of thin air. I've taken my existing songs that I've already composed
fair
and then
enough.
just reimagined them in different genres. So I've done a rock
Yeah.
version, I've done a more Afrobeats version, I've done a classical version, and I'm working on some other genres as well. This is just fun. But the reason why this is very interesting and exciting, specifically for what I do, is even though I'm an artist, I'm primarily a behind the scenes guy. So I make songs and then I sell them to artists and then they redo like they'll sing it themselves, but it's actually my song that I did for them. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
so
so it's like white labeling the
AI,
song. Yeah.
yes, exactly. And
Yeah.
so so my problem is I'm a very lousy singer as well. Do you know what I mean? Like I
Mhm.
need to record 100 times to have one sentence be sung properly. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
now with this AI stuff, I can just still do my own idea and sing it badly, but then I can use the AI to kind of elevate it a little bit. And it
Yeah.
just for the workflow, it's so much faster and it just sounds much better as well, right? And the
Yeah,
truth is, at the end of the day, with an artist, when you pitch them a song, um, sometimes, not to say all artists are like that, but sometimes they don't know that they like the song unless it sounds really professionally done. Do you know what I mean?
got it.
Including the mixing and all that crap that I don't like,
Like even the
right?
singing like needs to sound a certain way. Yeah, got it.
Exactly. So I could have a
Yeah,
song that I've built that it's exactly the same as the AI version, except that it's not all mixed and stuff. And
yeah,
if it's just my draft, they'll be like, I don't like it. And then if it's the AI version, they're like, oh, this is the best idea ever. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's very exciting. And I'm hyped to do more of that. But obviously also recognizing that it's highly disruptive. And I've had a lot of debates
yeah,
with many of my peers. I'd say most musicians I know are very against it and hate it,
yeah,
and are scared of it, and that makes sense. But I also think it's the sort of thing where it's here now and it's not gonna go away. It's like when the cars came and they replaced the horse carriages.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
It's like when
it's
drum machines replace drummers.
that's right.
So
Yes.
yeah.
So we're
No,
gonna have to
so
learn to work with it.
I have very mixed opinions on this. Like so first of all, I'm a AI software engineer, but like not
Oh no
generative
way.
AI. Yeah,
Yep.
like I am more of like application developments around
Yes.
AI, which like
Yep.
help make like businesses run faster and like get like
Mm-hmm.
small businesses more money, etc. But
Cool.
thing is like that's what I feel like with any art form or any not just like art form, just like even any job, basically like there is this like thing that you said about like needing to appear professional or like needing to have that polished effect at certain levels, right?
That's
And
right.
people don't understand, like people think that like the like you see sorry, you hear a final song, or you see a final episode, and you think that like that's how the original like person like just like wrote it, and that's what you're seeing
Mm-hmm.
on the screen. But there's this like huge pipeline of people and politics you need to impress, like so many
That's
things need to
right.
get approved, and like all
Yep.
that stuff. And it's like that's the part of like what these AI companies say when they say like, oh, you want to automate the hard part or something like that. I feel like that's what they're referring to, but then people misinterpret it as like like the creative part of it.
Yes.
And I feel
Yes,
like
that's right.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of people
yeah,
fit like when I had a conversation with a friend. I said, "Yeah, I'm using some AI," and they're like, "Oh my God, like you're just making songs out of thin air of AI." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm not putting a prompt that says make a song about
yeah.
walking down the street. Like I'm
Like
not
do
doing
my
that."
work for me,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah.
but
It's
like
like
maybe can you do this like thing which would otherwise take me 2 hours of like Ableton tutorials
exactly.
and like
For
switching
example,
things around.
actually, perfect example. I'm a really bad guitar player. I can play the guitar, but I'm terrible at it. But so
Yeah,
I make a song. I know exactly what I want the guitar riff to sound like. Ding-ding-ding-ding-ding-ding. So now with the pseudo thing, I can actually sing that in it, and then it'll give me that guitar that I
yeah,
wanted, right? So that saves me having to like invite one of my guitar friends over for the afternoon to try and play that riff that I can't do by myself. It saves everybody a lot of time and money. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
and so that's why again the reverse though, it also sucks for people whose business model is to do that, right? It is going
yeah,
to affect people. Like I know session guitarists, right, where their job is to be invited to different studios and to just play a guitar riff and get paid, $50 per hour to do that, right? Now I don't know how much of that is going to exist. I'm sure it'll still exist, but less. And
yeah.
that's very, it's a tough
It's
reality,
like
right? It's what we call
yeah.
creative destruction.
Yeah, I feel like I get your point. It's like how the Cajon artists have replaced like drummers because they're just
Yeah, it's the
cheaper and
same.
like more efficient on the stage, like
That's right. That's exactly it.
and I feel like it's kind of sad. No, yeah, there's no argument. Like that's the slippery thing about it, right? Like even as you support it, you don't want to support it because like you can
Yep.
see like okay, yeah, it's trained by like like trained on people's data without their consent.
Yep.
And but we're still, but like like a lot of people are already using this technology, I feel like, without even knowing it. Like people, like algorithms constantly polish things with AI anyway, right? Like
Yes.
even without you opting in for it. Like so yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's a
Scary
yeah,
and
curious
exciting.
world, scary
One
and
thing that
exciting
is good
world.
though, now I'll tell you the one good piece, in my opinion. I think like right now, I think it's around 150,000 songs uploaded per day on streaming platforms. Okay.
Okay.
Now I think it's like at least half that is AI generated song. So it's a lot of AI music and
Yeah.
AI slop, as they call it, right? The good news about this, I think, is that it's going to bring a bit of a renaissance of people who respect real human stuff, right? Because
Yes.
now, at some point, we're going to start labeling AI music versus not AI, and I think it'll help people put a bit of a premium on real talent, where people will actively seek out music that's, let's say, imagine a song recorded by you with your actual real drums that you drummed into the mic, right? And it's
Yeah.
gonna be cool, and people will feel fancy. It's kind of like having a luxury item, you know what I mean? And it's like I'm listening to human music, right? So I think that also presents an opportunity for real humans who know how to make music, like actually, right? So
Yeah.
it's good and bad.
It's good and bad. It's like the same way. I know, yeah, again, like it's such a like specific use case, but it's like the same way, like I don't know how to draw, right? But when Canva came along, right, like I was
Oh
able to
yeah,
like put like graphics together, right?
yes,
And
that's
so
the
a
same
lot of
thing.
people aren't able to express their create, like for example, like whenever I drum, like of course, like I'm also missing like a vocal, melody to go with it. Not that my knowledge of it is very good, but if I had like a MIDI like loop thing, or like
Hmm.
if I can just like code my own live code music in Strudel or something, like that's a thing now. So like it helps like interact with music in a non-musical way, like not the
Yes,
traditional idea of it, but yeah, music has always been technological. But yeah, I guess like we've talked a lot about this particular topic, so
yes,
get back to the Noteless podcast. So yeah, man. We were talking about your production and like your upcoming song. So you're saying that you use AI to experiment like the different versions of it. So have you
yes.
used like any edits from those versions, or like mix them match them around or something like that?
What do you mean? In what way?
Like, so have you taken bits and pieces from like different experiments and then like
Oh yeah,
use them
that's what I'm
actually
telling you. So
yeah.
I've uploaded, and this is how you can like listen to it right now. I've uploaded albums of my own songs that I've done before, but reimagined in different
Oh, I
genres,
see.
made with
Got
AI.
it.
Yeah, that's right. So I've done a
Okay.
few of those, and I've got a couple more coming out, and after that, I'll be done with this AI, and I'll be back to doing new stuff from scratch. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm focused on, like right now, this second.
I'll put
Yeah.
everything in the comments sorry, in the captions, by the way, listeners, so that you can find Cashflow's link tree and like all the
Great.
important
Yeah.
like yeah upcoming
Yeah.
songs on it.
Yeah. Because I can tell you,
So
it's really. I'll just quickly finish by saying it's really interesting to have a song that you've done, let's say 6 years ago,
yeah,
in pop, and then to hear it again, brand new in a jazz format, for example. It's
yeah,
really exciting and fun. It's
and
it's
like
nice.
skipping
Yeah.
the cost of the production of like it
Yeah.
in like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
and time span, I guess. Yeah, that's actually yeah. I feel like I can yeah see the merits of it. But yeah, I think like that's close to our time. So do you have any upcoming shows or any like particular things you're excited about, or any shout outs you want to make about your channels?
Yeah, no, in terms of particular things coming up, now it's the summer. I'm back in the country now, which is great. So I'm just excited to sort of, be out and about. And there's all sorts of, little festivals and things every now and then. So I'm just gonna be trying to go to events a little more than I have been.
Yeah.
But I don't have one in mind that was like a big milestone or anything like that.
Sure.
And then in terms of, sorry, what was the last part of your question?
Do you have any like shout outs you want to make about your channels or like your upcoming
Oh
podcast
yes, please,
episodes?
absolutely. You can find my music at Cashflow, YouTube Cashflow, Spotify Cashflow. That's really that's the name.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. And everybody, this was Cash Flow. All their links are in the captions below. This was Noteless Podcast. I'll see you guys next time. Right. Bye.